So welcome back to our next reading vlog. We're getting back in the swing of things and we are getting out of this book slump. That is the goal for this month. So we are starting with just a light, fluffy read for this month before we start getting into some new releases. Before we start getting into some of the new releases that I have missed in all the chaos of life lately, I am starting with The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez. This is one of her earlier works. I have all of her books, I think, on my bookshelf, and I know her next book is coming out fairly soon. So I thought, what better way to get in the mood than a good romance? And I'm actually surprisingly enjoying it. I am on page 78. So I've already sat down and started reading it a little bit. I audiobooked a couple of chapters while I was on a walk. And basically the gist of it is that we are following our main character, Kristen, and our main male character, which is Josh. Kristen is the maid of honor in one of her best friend's weddings, and Josh is the best man. They start out in a little bit of a fender bender when they are rushing to the same place, but they don't know yet, get in a fender bender, don't like each other off the bat, then see each other at their best friend's house and realize that they are going to be in the wedding together. Kristen is in a relationship. Her relationship is long distance. She is dating a man in the military named Tyler, and he is deployed, but he is ending his deployment, pulling out of the military, ending that because she said it's time. And he's going to be living with her, but she's a bit nervous because they've never spent more than 14 days together at a time. In the midst of that, she is down a employee that she needs. So Josh is filling in as an employee, and they start to become friends. That is everything that has gone on in the first 70 pages. Tyler is not back yet, so we are going to see how that goes. But I'm actually really liking the plot. I have kind of heard that her earlier works weren't that great, and the ones that I have read, I didn't love. I wasn't obsessed with them. They were cute, they were fluffy, but I actually really enjoyed this one so far. So we'll see. I think our main characters are fun and they're witty and they have good banter, which is always the main premise that you need when you're going to have a good book. So, good way to start, in my opinion. I am hoping to get some different reads into this video, but we are going to mood read because the last thing I want to do is be in a slump. And that's probably what you could call the last month, considering I read 3 books in the entire month of March, which is insane for me. Usually I read 3 in a week. So we are hoping that we improve this month. We are going to start off strong and hopefully we are going to hold ourselves accountable and read a little bit every day, start audiobooking some more, and just get back into that groove of things now that there's no more travel for a little while until all of these weddings start to pick up. But I am going to throw some headphones on, listen to the audiobook for a little bit while I make dinner. I just have to say, I really love Kristen. I love the way her character is built. She's very independent and just always wants to be strong and put on this persona of she loves to banter and just, you know, hide everything to herself, even with her best friend. Like, she finally came forward and told her best friend what's been going on with her, and she's been struggling with her periods and how crazy they've been. And I just find it very interesting because it's not really a topic that you would see common in any books, especially with the main character, something that they struggle with. So I think it's a very interesting one to throw in, to have this main character be struggling with this, especially how it's going to affect her relationships, her future, how she's, you know, picking what life partner she wants for herself. She's having to rationalize everything based on what she's struggling with throughout this entire book, with her health and with just with everything. It affects everything down the line. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Is this the best partner? Does she need to think about the best partner, or does she need to just follow her heart? And I think that's just very, very interesting and very different. It's not something that I've really read in a book before, but it's something that's very relatable and more common than I think is talked about. I'm pleasantly surprised so far. I'm on page 100, so I'm going to read for a little bit more, and then I'm probably going to call it a night because sadly tomorrow is Monday. That means we have to go back to work and be an adult again. But I did, just like 30 minutes ago, file my taxes for the first time. Well, we filed our taxes because I'm married, obviously. But we did that for the first time on our own by ourselves using TurboTax, and it was actually surprisingly very easy. It was very long. It took us a little over an hour to do it all because of all the questions and stuff, but it really does take you step by step. So I feel a lot better now that that's out of the way, because I was putting it off and putting it off, and it needed to be done before it hit April. So I'm glad at least we can breathe about that. But let's go read, and then I will probably see you guys tomorrow. Okay, good morning, friends. I thought we could do a little debrief and chat while I am making my morning coffee. So I kind of went through the drill in my daily vlog too, but I do maple syrup in the espresso shot before I brew it so that it kind of mixes in, and then you'll just kind of see what I do from there on out. But I have kind of caught up a little bit. I think last night when I was reading, I was a bit shocked by how soon what I thought was going to be the climax happened. So I guess it's obviously not the climax. I'm understanding that now. So I was just a little bit shocked or surprised by that, I guess. And so now I'm kind of like, oh, this isn't going the direction I thought it was going. And I'm a little disappointed in that, because I thought there was going to be a really good friendship basis build up that took, you know, a little bit longer than maybe the average. I love a good slow build, especially from the name, you know, friend zone. That's just kind of what I was expecting. Obviously, that's not necessarily the case with this, which is okay. I just think that it's throwing the pacing off for me a little bit. So I'm still really enjoying it. I'm liking it. Awesome. I don't know that I would even say I'm in a book slump anymore. I think it really was just, you know, it was the month of March, and it was crazy and it was chaotic, and there was just a lot going on. And so it was just like not at the forefront of my mind to be reading constantly, which is probably for the best, or I wouldn't have been productive in the slightest. So other than the pacing being thrown off by that for me, there is a little bit, I do really still like our main character. I'm not going to say I dislike her by any means, of course. I'm not going to flip that fast, but I don't like her as much as I thought. Like, I feel like her hesitations and what she's not talking about is fair, it's valid, it's scary, I get it, but I think we just went 0 to 100 so fast with this couple. Like, it went from just friends, and now they're like, I'm basically in love with them. And I was kind of like, oh, I thought we were friend zoned. I thought there was just going to be a lot more build up throughout the series. And now that it's happened in the first like 30% of the book, I'm like, so the rest of the book's just going to be this? I don't know. Again, just the pacing is what's really throwing me off. But other than that, I'm still enjoying it, still liking it. So hopefully it stays on this pace for me. I've also started doing a little bit of cold foam on top of this, just because that's what I order at Starbucks, and I like it. The only downside, of course, is that it's using these artificial creamers, and I just haven't had time to go get my creamer that I usually use. That's a little bit better. So I need to do that at some point. But again, life is just crazy and chaotic, and if I can get done what I need to get done today, then I'm just making a mess and being so loud this morning, then we'll be good to go for the day. But yeah, that's my little reading update. I think it definitely kind of lowered the rating of what I was thinking it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a solid 4 stars from where I started, and now I'm kind of like, maybe not. It's still going to be a decent rating, just probably not quite 4 stars if I had to guess right now. But obviously, I'm only on page 135, so still quite a bit more of the book left to go. But now that my coffee is done, we are going to go get started with our day so we can get back to reading. Hello, everybody. I have finished my first book. I was about to say of the month of April, but it's technically not April yet. It's only March 31st. So I guess we did squeeze one more book into the month of March. That makes it a little bit better. Unintentionally matching this book, but I just finished The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and I went through a lot of highs and lows of this book. I started off with really not high expectation, but really no expectations. And then in the beginning, I really liked it. So my expectations kind of went up a little bit. And then I said earlier that what I thought was going to be the turning point in the big climax in the series happened way sooner than I thought. So obviously that wasn't going to be the main one. So that really threw me for a loop. And then I think the whole friends with benefits scenario is just not my favorite. And so I thought, man, that's really going to take the rating down for me. I don't think it's going to be as high as I thought it was going to be. But the ending saved it. It really did. Like the last, I'd say 25% of the book. So I rounded out at a 4 stars with this one. So I thought it would be like that at the beginning, then I didn't think that, and then at the end, after I finished it, I was like, yeah, that's a good 4-star read. I love what the main character Kristen is going through, and even at the end, I listened to the epilogue on the audiobook, and there's a little spiel afterwards, a note from the author, and she talks about how while this is fiction, it is based on true events, and that her best friend actually went through all of these issues as far as fertility and having to do in vitro and having horrible periods and just tumors and all of this craziness that she's going through. And she's just very not independent. She's very strong. She is independent, but she's very strong. And her mother is not very kind to her. And so she's having to figure out how to find value in herself. She doesn't understand why people find so much value in her and so much love in her. And so I think it had a way deeper meaning than was even known in the book. And so when you get to the ending, that's where all of that kind of comes to fruition. You start to see it play out, and then it has a lot more depth to it. But at first, I just had this friends with benefits thing at the forefront, and I was like, not a fan of that. But I think it all came together, and it was tied with a bow at the end. So really saved the rating for me. It ended up at 4 stars, and that's a pretty good way to start getting out of a book slump, if that's what we're calling it. I don't really know. That was a good light, fluffy romance. I really want to read the next book of the Hunger Games series. I don't own it because I think it's only released in hardback, which I know why they do that, because they got to make money in the book industry, of course, but it really frustrates me because I don't want to buy it in hardback. So if you could do a paperback first, that'd be great. But I think I'm going to try and download it on my Kindle and possibly start reading that tonight. I haven't decided. We had quite the productive day today, and then I also decided to torrential downpour on me halfway through work, and then as soon as I get home from work, it stops. Go figure. Other than that, though, been a great day. Very productive. We did our taxes yesterday. I submitted a bunch of expenses today, went and made calls. It's been very good. Finished this book. We are back on track. I'm hoping to get 2 more books into this week of reading, but it is all mood reading. We have no rhyme or reason in anything, but I am having a little bit of FOMO as to the new Hunger Games release, so I will be succumbing to that FOMO, and I will be going to download it. So let's go see if we can find it. There's one thing I forgot to say on why I gave the Friend Zone 4 stars, not 5 stars. I don't have that 5-star feeling, unfortunately. I did really, really enjoy it, and I would definitely recommend it to people. But there were 2 reasons why. One, there were a couple of plot points that were just left on end, like what happened to Tyler. he kind of disappears at some point. And there's also one scene where there's like a man leaving her house and it never like comes back to tell us who that man was in any way, shape, or form. So there are a few things that I feel like kind of fell off. I don't know if they were in there beforehand and then maybe when they were editing and before the publishing and everything like that, maybe they felt like they weren't very important to the storyline of it, but I felt like it left holes. So that was the other thing with it. I did really enjoy it. It had very great meaning. I loved how different it was. But that, along with the fact I don't love the friends with benefits trope starting out, it's just not my favorite way to start a relationship because it will go 0 to 100 so fast sometimes. And then it's like, are emotions involved? Are they not involved? Is it just, it's a lot. It's not my favorite. I like more of an emotional connection. And for a slow burn to happen, if you didn't know, Binding 13 is like my favorite book ever, Binding and Keeping 13, and that is the slowest burn known to man. So if that doesn't tell you a lot about me, then I don't know what does, because that's probably one of my very few handful of 6-star reads that I will never stop raving about. So that's more my vibe. I love to see the couple develop. I love seeing the emotional connection, how they come to know each other. And so starting off friends with benefits just usually isn't it for me. But still 4 stars, which is good. Okay, so quick update. I am in my car. I'm at work, but I'm in between offices right now, and there is a Barnes & Noble really close to me. And I don't live right next to one. I live by a local bookstore, but I didn't see it in there. And I cannot find this Hunger Games book anywhere on my Kindle. And I thought, well, let me just start listening to it on Spotify real fast. And it's not available to listen to on Spotify yet. And then I was like, well, maybe I can get it off of Libby. And it's like months long waiting list on that naturally. So I think I am going to have to cave and buy the book. This also made me realize I own The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I own that book. No clue where it is. I think I lent it to a friend and they never gave it back to me. Need to text them about that because that was many years ago. But it's hardback and I was not going to buy the book because it's hardback and they don't have the paperback out right now. But now I'm realizing I probably need to just go ahead and buy it if I want it to match my other copy anyway. Other thing I realized is I was looking it up on Goodreads to see what it was called, and what the Sunrise and the Reaping, something like that. I may have just butchered that. I can like picture it in my head, but for some reason I keep blanking on the name. I didn't realize that the books were labeled like The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is 0. This one is 0.5. And that really threw me off at first because I was like, is this a novella? Because when I think of novella, I think like 100 pages or less, like very small little in-between book, kind of filler book. But these are full-length books. So I think it just threw me off. It makes sense, obviously, because first one was a prequel and now this one's also basically a prequel. So makes sense that they are labeled that. It just caught me off guard real fast. But let's go head over to Barnes & Noble and run in and grab this book. These are beautiful. Wow. I don't know if I'm missing it, but I saw the Hunger Games table and it's not there, so I don't know if they don't have any copies left. Okay, so I went in and they had that whole Hunger Games table, but they had no copies of Sunrise on the Reaping. So then I'm walking around, I found more copies of the Hunger Games and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and no new book. So I went up to the front and he said that they had 2 copies, but they were both on hold, which I didn't even know that you could hold books. I don't know if that means somebody's coming to pick them up and actually bought them already or what, but that was very frustrating. And he also said that, so sweet, by the way, he was so helpful, but he was like, we just haven't gotten consistent shipments of that one for some reason yet, but he was like, definitely find it somewhere. They're supposed to get a shipment today or tomorrow if it actually comes, but he was like, I've read it and it's so good, you have to read it. So we are going to go check Target
now and see if we can find it there, because fingers crossed, I am searching everywhere for this book, online, audiobook, Libby, library, everything, and I just can't find it. It means it was good, hopefully, though. But I did, because they were having some good buy one get one half off deals in there, and they had some really cute special editions. And so many books that I knew were coming out soon have already come out, like Abby Jimenez's new book. I'm behind, y'all. I need to catch up on reading, but buy one get one half off. I just finished Wildside, so adding it to my Elsie Silver collection over there. I love the covers and the aesthetic of this series, the Rose Hill series. Beautiful colors. A+ to whoever designed those. And then I wanted to read this because I saw it on the Bookmarked podcast. It's Sarah Crowley and Destiny Sidwell's podcast, and they did this for their read of the month of February. And I, again, not on it with my reading so far this year, so I did pick up First Time Caller because I've heard really good things about this. Plus the cover is gorgeous. I love the like orangey yellow and light pink contrast in this one. It's so cute. So those were buy one get one half off. There are so many books that were actually that, but I needed to limit myself, so gotta chill out on the spending. But fingers crossed Target is gonna have Sunrise on the Reaping, because I really am in the mindset to read this, and now that I am like on the hump for it, I'm like, we are going to read this, and I'm gonna be very disappointed if I don't get to. So let's go to Target.
Okay, it's supposed to be right here, but they are also out of it.
Target was also a bust, so I guess this is just a sign that I'm not supposed to start this book yet, that I need to choose something else. But don't worry, I picked what I'm going to do next because I'm so behind on new releases. So I did pick up Rebel Witch. So second book for the Crimson Moth duology, last book obviously. So this is going to be my next read. I give up on the Hunger Games one. I guess maybe I'll have to order it off of Amazon or something. I'm really bummed about that though. I don't know. Maybe I'll check this weekend. The Barnes & Noble guy said that they were supposed to get a shipment today or tomorrow. But I'm like, well, I'm not working here today or tomorrow, and I don't live in this area. So maybe we can check another Barnes & Noble for where I'm working tomorrow if they have it there, and we could snag it. But obviously you saw my book logic. They don't have the one that I came in for, so I left with 3 other books. That's the logic of a book lover, that's for sure. But we're done for the day. I stopped at Target on the way home, so it is a little after 4. We got to drive home now, and then we got to wrap up some stuff before we actually get to reading. But I think I'm going to start listening to the audiobook of Rebel Witch, because I was able to find that. So it's not too long of a drive home, but we can probably get through the first like chapter or 2 at least. Good morning, friends. It is time again for another
Little reset. I have made it to about 25% of the book, so I am on chapter 19, so I'm on page 124. Right now, we are going to do another coffee chat and debrief. So, Rebel Witch is going good right now. I would say I started the first chapter on audiobook on my way home yesterday, and I think because it's been a while since I read Heartless Hunter, it was hard for me to remember what the characters were because they also don't all have very normal names, as we know with fantasy books. So it took me a second to kind of remember who everyone was and what had happened in the last book. Like, I remembered the bulk of it, but after, I'd say, like the first two to three chapters, I was okay. It wasn't, it needed to click physically. Like, I needed to get the physical copy out and start reading the words on the page, and then after that, then I was good to go. So pause for a second off, which I really appreciate. I hate when there's a bunch of like recaps from the previous book and like what happened in the plot and stuff, because it's not supposed to feel like that. It's supposed to feel like you pick up right where you left off. If you want to reread it, reread it. If not, you jump right into it, which I usually just jump right into it. I'll read a summary if I have to or something to remember stuff. But it did kind of start off more like Reckless does in the Powerless series, which is fine, but I was a little bit concerned because if I love the universe or I'm obsessed with the universe like I was with Kai, then I don't mind the cat and mouse retelling, or cat and mouse retelling, the cat and mouse storyline. But sorry, I keep walking away. I'm just getting stuck. But I'm not obsessed with these characters. I do really like them. I enjoyed the stories, but they're by no means like a 5-star or 6-star read. So I was a little bit concerned at first. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through a whole cat and mouse saga of this. But I feel like now it's not as much of a cat and mouse saga going on. Rune has kind of like not. Rune is a mastermind, first of all. I do really enjoy her. I think she's great because you can tell she does what she thinks is right, and she doesn't know the full story. And when she uncovers other parts to it, I think she realizes that she doesn't know the full story. And so that's where her and Gideon can kind of, help each other out, whether they realize it or not. And it took a turn. The only concern, I don't know if it's a concern or a thing that I'm not loving, is they're doing it well and they make sense, but I feel like there are a lot of micro tropes in this book so far, and I'm only 25% of the way through. And if you don't know what a micro trope is, those are the things where it's like the who did this to you quote that's thrown into books, things like that, things that people will pick something really small and obsess over it, but it's like not the whole concept of the book. And I feel like nowadays those can get really thrown out of proportion, in the sense of, I feel like authors will just throw it in there because they know that people like it, even though it won't make sense with the characters and the storyline. So I feel like at least the ones that she's using, they do make sense with the storyline. I don't think that they're necessary, I guess is the thing. Like, I think it would be just as good without it, and maybe even a little bit less cheesy at a couple of points. Again, I understand why they're thrown in there. You're an author, you're trying to cater to your audience and still add to your plot and your story and your characters. So totally get it. But that's my only complaint for right now. Second, I hate when characters like don't explain themselves. I don't know if it's considered the miscommunication issue, but like with the whole Alex situation in this one, I feel like I get a little frustrated with Rune. I'm like, just tell him like what's going through your head. Like, he was your best friend, it was his brother, like just give him your POV. Give him your POV, and I feel like you guys can work through this because obviously you loved each other before. Like, come on, let's get it together. I also think that I know what's going to happen with the plot point with Cresta and everything like that at the very beginning when she says that. I'm like 90% sure I know where this is going to go. I'm hoping I'm wrong because I hate when I guess it in the very beginning. Doesn't mean I won't enjoy the journey, but it's really frustrating when it's something that's very predictable, especially in a fantasy series. So that's my only food for thought at the moment right now, but it's going good. I am enjoying being back in the universe. I think I said it in the first book too. Whoever did the printing for this book, phenomenal job. My husband loves the cover, first of all, so shout out to that. But the printing of it, the font is like the perfect size, and margins are the perfect size. I feel like I read really fast in it, And I really appreciate that. I hate when there's like no margins on the page and then the font is like microscopic and the line spacing is microscopic and you're like putting words on top of each other and you feel like you read at the speed of a snail or a slug, whatever, slower. But this one I feel good. I feel like I read at a normal, if not faster pace. It's not dragging on. It feels good. It doesn't feel like it's going to have too much annoying detail or anything like that. And here I feel like the pacing so far is pretty good. So we're just going to see where the plot takes us, where it goes, and fingers crossed that I didn't guess what was going on. Now that we have made our coffee, we're going to go get in the car. I have a couple hour drive down to where I need to work today. So we are going to probably listen to the audiobook for the majority of that drive down there. Okay, I just finished a lunch and learn and I have 30 minutes before my next office opens back up from lunch. And there is a Second and Charles down here where I'm at. Don't mind the hair, it's very humid today. There's a Second and Charles down here where I'm at. So I'm going to, fingers crossed, run in there and hope I can find Sunrise on the Reaping. And if not, I'm just not meant to have this book, I guess. All right, store number 3. Update. We got her! So this will be the third book in this video for the week, for sure. I'm gonna finish Rebel Witch, of course, where I'm at, which I also saw in there. They had a good book set up in there, I have to say. I didn't get a ton of clips of it because I'm in and out today, but I'm so excited. I finally found it. Third time's a charm. Third store is a charm. And the lady at the front desk was like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to read this. I haven't had time. And I was like, I have been on the hunt for this book. You guys are the third store I've been to and they finally have it. And I've been looking it up online and I cannot find it anywhere. And she was like, yeah, when we first got our shipment, we only got 5 copies. No wonder I couldn't find it anywhere. But now we did. So we're all good. We're happy. All right, back to morning. I am putting the microphone on my necklace, so hopefully you can hear me and it works, but it is time for our coffee debrief. I didn't do a very good job at checking in yesterday just because it was very chaotic. I had a 2-hour drive down for work, so I listened to the audiobook a good chunk and 2-hour drive back, and then I got back and changed and went straight to a cycle class that my friend teaches, going to support, of course. So didn't really get to read much last night, but did get to listen to the audiobook a lot, which was a good thing. And I was right. So the big kind of plot point is very predictable, very typical, YA plot, but it's if you enjoy getting to that or not. So I still really enjoy the book. I love that it's not drug out. I very much appreciate it, because I feel like in series like this, typically they'll drag it out another 1 or 2 books and make it a trilogy or more. And so I'm very happy that this author did not do that. I think it's going to be the perfect length. I think my worry about the micro tropes was far-fetched. There haven't been a ton of micro tropes in it, just, some very typical things that are always in fantasy books like this. Sorry if this is loud. Give me a second. And I have to say, I was getting a little bit frustrated because I felt like the cat and mouse kind of vibe was less bantery. Like I'm comparing this to Powerless a lot, but that's just what comes to mind and as the best comparison. I'm sure you enjoy the conversations that are going on between them, even though they're on opposite sides. Versus this one, I feel like it's not so much banter. It's just like they love each other. They know they love each other, but they are just on opposite sides, and like they both have reasons to be on opposite sides, obviously. But I do love the way it finally kind of came together. I think it's all coming together very seamlessly. I love that it was not drug out for 9 years, but it still is enough to where it makes sense and it doesn't seem outlandish. So I very much am enjoying this book. I'm trying to decide if I'm liking it better than the first one or not. Oop, I guess we're using the last of my milk. That means we gotta make more. Yeah, I just can't decide if it's better than the first one or if they're equal or what. I just don't know what I'm thinking in that sense. I will say I did not see that coming with Seraphine and what was said there. I was a little bit caught off guard by that one and shocked in a good way. It wasn't, again, outlandish. Sometimes I feel like in certain books, like, yes, you want plot twists and you don't want to predict what's coming, but sometimes they can make them a little bit too far fetched. For example, and don't come for me when I say this, Crescent City. I think the third book in the Crescent City series was very outlandish. The things that were happening, the twists and turns, I was like, listen, you got me on the twists and turns, but they just are not feasible. They just don't make any sense. And if it doesn't make any sense, then it's just too far-fetched for me. It's not going to be any sort of realistic, which, yes, I know it's fantasy. How realistic can it be? But still, if you don't agree with me, you don't agree with me. But that's just my take on it personally. See if this pours good. Oh no, I think we're gonna run out of room. But the goal for today is to finish the book quickly. I have about an hour drive down to where I need to work today, but I want to finish it hopefully on the way down there if possible, and then hopefully start the book, because if you saw yesterday, where's my book? Let me get it. I really hope you guys can hear me with the microphone on my necklace like this. Okay. If you saw yesterday, I finally found Sunrise on the Reaping, so I'm so excited. The only downside is if I finish Rebel Witch on the way down there, then I don't have the audiobook for this one to start it on the way back, so it's like an hour wasted of reading it, which really sucks. But the lady at the front desk said that, or no, the man at the front desk for the Barnes & Noble that I went to the first time, said it was amazing. I haven't really honestly been hearing anything about it. Like, I've seen little teasers for the movie coming out, but I haven't seen anybody like raving about the book or anything like that, which is shocking. I thought this would be all over social media and I'd have to avoid spoilers, but I haven't. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm so excited to read it. I have been waiting for Hamich's story because The Hunger Games is very nostalgic for me. That takes me back to my middle school days. That was actually our summer reading book back in 6th grade. It's one of the series that kind of started my spiral for reading and loving it so much. That one and Divergent, I would say, are like the two main series where I was like obsessed with reading after that. So it's just very nostalgic. I'm excited. And I feel like too, like with the Shatter Me series, that really should have stopped after the first series. And then the author came back and was like, let me keep going. And it just, there was a disconnect years later trying to continue on the story. And so I was a little bit worried about that with this one, but because they're prequels and it's not a continuation necessarily of Katniss's story, they're very well done, very good books. I have been very happy with the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, so I'm hoping that continues on to the third book. So let's get ready for the day. Let's start our drive down, hopefully finish Rebel Witch, and then tonight we will be starting Sunrise on the Reapings. I will catch you guys then. Things did not go according to plans today, so I thought in my head, you get 15 hours of listening time on audiobooks with Spotify Premium a month. So in my head, it was the first of the month. So my hours started over. I'm stupid. It starts over when your subscription starts over. So that is not on the first of the month for me. That's actually tomorrow. So I got through like 2 chapters in the car, and then it was like, you're out of Spotify listening time. And I was like, but how? Did my research. It renews tomorrow. It restarts tomorrow. So I did not finish Rebel Witch like I wanted to, unfortunately, and it stopped in the middle of a really good part, which is really annoying. But I got to chapter 56. It's like I said, 2 chapters, which is page 323. So we still have a good chunk left. I can definitely finish it today. But, oh wow, this is 400 pages. This does not feel like 400 pages. Interesting. So I'm on page 323. We do have a little over 100 pages left. We have like 120 pages left, which is still doable. It's a fast read. I can finish it tonight. I'm just frustrated because I could have been done with it on my drive home, and stupid Spotify jail. I need a get out of jail free card, or I said it before, they need another tier. They need something like executive membership above premium membership where you can just pay extra and get unlimited listening hours, because there is no audiobook platform that does that. And while I love Libby and it's free, I cannot wait months on these stupid wait lists sometimes. It's very frustrating. When I pick up a book, I like to have both options. Sometimes I like to listen to it, sometimes I like to read it, sometimes I like to do both. So that's my little rant for right now. But we're at a really good part that happened It was very predictable. I predicted the big thing. But there was one little thing with Seraphine that I didn't predict, and some things are kind of falling into place. So it's still holding my attention. I'm still really enjoying the book. I do really want to finish it. So I have some extra stuff that I need to do today. I did not get home as early as I wanted to. I'm going to go outside, read for like an hour, then come back in and sit and work a little bit longer. So my hours aren't always cut and dry, unfortunately. You got to work over a little bit sometimes, but that's okay. So I'm going to give myself an hour break after all the driving. Let's go read as much as we can. We'll come back, do some working, make dinner, and then I'll probably read the rest before bed. So I don't think we're going to be starting Sunrise on the Reaping today, unfortunately, but we'll see. Maybe we'll pull a little bit of a late night for me. And by late night, I mean maybe we'll stay up to like 11 because I don't stay up late, if you can't tell by my previous vlogs. Well, let's go read outside. Okay, friends, we have officially finished Rebel Witch, finished a little later than anticipated, but I really enjoyed this series. It is a great, quick fantasy read if you don't want something that's going to be a huge commitment. Duologies, the way to go. Authors need to write more duologies, 100%. I think I'm going to settle on a 4 stars. I think I liked it just as much as I liked Heartless Hunter. I like them equally. There are just a couple of things in this one that kind of bumped it down for me. One of them being, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a little like tidbit that's kind of hinted at in there, and Gideon notices it, and then I kept waiting for it to like circle back around to this, and like somebody bring it up, especially after the whole Seraphine thing, and it just never came back up. I don't want to spoil anything for it, but it never came back up. It was never like confirmed or not confirmed. It was just like overlooked and kind of dropped off. So that really bothered me because I'm like waiting for it to play a part in their whole journey and everything. And she like references back to wanting kids, but like never to the situation in which that occurred. And so that really bothered me. I wanted to see everything just fall flawlessly together, and for the most part it did, except for that. I will say the ending went much more abruptly than I thought it would, because as I was getting closer and closer to finishing it, I was like, are we going to wrap up a whole war in the last like 20 pages, which kind of did, but in a different way than I expected. As soon as, again, very predictable, as plot points fell, it was like, okay, this is what's going to happen next. Like, it all makes sense. Um, and the ending was, it wasn't anticlimactic. I think it just, I'm used to these fantasy books like diving so far in depth, especially with ones that are in war. Like, these wars will last chapters and chapters and chapters, and this one just didn't. And I don't think it was necessary for it to. It maybe could have had a couple more chapters. I do think this was fine as a duology. It wasn't really missing much, other than just a couple of plot points here and there. But I think the love story within this duology is so sweet. It's not toxic or chaotic. It's just truly they start with different loyalties, and they have to figure out how to align their loyalties, because really they believe in the same thing, they want the same thing, and it's a matter of how do they bring the two sides together. And I feel like that all really came to fruition very flawlessly. It's a very easy read, so this is not a complicated fantasy, which I also appreciate, because I don't know that my mental state out of this after this chaotic month and the craziness of work going on right now, I don't think I could have understood a full entire universe like that. So I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I finished the duology. I think 4 stars is a really good rating, especially for both of the books, because I feel like that doesn't happen very often. I really liked both of our main characters, the male main character and the female main character. I thought it was very well done, and I would definitely recommend this to people. It is more like YA, so if somebody doesn't like YA or doesn't like, I don't know if it's considered YA actually. I have to look that up. But I feel like in the sense of the way it's written, it's nothing overly complicated. It's very much written like a YA. It's very easily digestible, nothing crazy like that in that sense. And it's not completely closed door romance, but for the most part closed door romance. I think there's like one scene in there and it's very like top line, which I really appreciate because it added to it and it wasn't too much. I didn't need all the nitty gritty details of that. So I really appreciate that as well. But 4 stars for Rebel Witch. That was pretty good. Book number 2 is done. And now the star of the video. Well, not, I'm going to say the star of the video because I went on the hunt for this book. And let me tell you, this book better be worth it because books are expensive now, y'all. I bought this. And when she told me how much it was, I was like, did you read that right? Because, ouch. That hurt. Since when did books become that expensive? Paperbacks used to be like $9. And now a paperback is like $18. I just don't understand. I really don't. It's so crazy. But it's worth it. It's fine. I needed to get the hardback so that it matches the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Also, I did find the book, so I was wrong. My friend did give it back to me. It was just MIA for a hot second, but when I put my mind to it, I found it. So I do have this book to match it now. I am. I'm definitely going to start Sunrise on the Reaping. So I'm going to sit here. We're going to see how much we actually read of it. I don't know. I'm really bummed that I can't also like double task this and audiobook it because now I am starting to see stuff. I think it's because my phone's listening to me. I've been talking about it, my phone's listening to me, and I've started seeing stuff, and I don't want anything to be spoiled for me. If I get anything spoiled, I'm going to be really upset. Anywho, I'm going to shut up, and we're going to get to reading and see how much we can actually get in today. I would love to get a good little chunk in. Let's see what the margins are like in this one. Okay, this one's looking good too. Pages aren't super long. I feel like we could get a little ways into it. I'd love to get like 20% of the way. I might be pushing it, but we're going to find out. We have a duck pong beverage of choice now that we're back inside and showered and stuff, which I definitely got some sun, if you can't tell. Alright, we are getting ready to go meet some friends and get some drinks and just have fun, social hour. So I'm going to do a quick check-in before we go. But I have made it to almost part 3 of the book. I think I have one more chapter till then. So I'm on page 235. Effie has arrived, which I love. I didn't think she was going to be making an appearance in this one. So I do love that you can kind of see a sneak peek of their relationship and then thinking about it evolving into the Hunger Games, I think is really cute too. We got a little bit more of his girl. She called him at one point, and you saw a little bit of that, but I feel like there's not a ton of romance for sure in this. I don't know if that'll change as we go on throughout. Maybe, I don't know how much we're going to actually see it after his Hunger Games, like right after it. So that'll be interesting. Also, him leading up, like throughout the interviews and things like that, it just didn't. He's an underdog, that's for sure. And I just wasn't really, I don't know what I was expecting about it, but I was expecting him to be much more sassy, outspoken, all that kind of stuff, which you definitely get glimmers of that, but you can definitely see that the Hunger Games changed him and how he ends up, in the actual series with Katniss versus how he is now as a child, basically, is just very different. And it obviously really affected him. And he definitely had some good relationships. It's interesting to hear about his family and everything going on. I am a little bit curious on the Victor that they reference because at first I thought the Victor was referencing from the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and now I'm a little bit confused on that. I also think it's interesting. I don't remember this in the Hunger Games. Maybe it's just because it's been so long, but they call the ones who like grow up training for this and they'll like volunteer to go into the Hunger Games, take people's spots for it. They call them the careers. I don't think that was a term that was used in the Hunger Games trilogy. I want to see Finnick's Hunger Games. I know that's probably not that far before Katniss and them. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what the real age difference is between them. But Finnick was obviously a victor, and I love me some Finnick. I think everybody does with the glimpses that you get of him in the movies, especially. But even in the books, I'm obsessed with Finnick, and I would love to hear more about his games and his love story and how all of that happened and unfolded before it gets into Catching Fire. When you see him there, I think that would be a really interesting prequel. So food for thought if Suzanne Collins were ever to see this, which she probably wouldn't. But I'm really enjoying this book right now. It's going great. I am loving the nostalgia of it. It is well on its way to 5 stars, and I hope it stays on this track. But I miss the Hunger Games, and I miss books like this, and I feel like we just don't really have a lot of dystopian books like this nowadays, and it's just very nostalgic. I don't know if that's upping the rating and the enjoyment of it for me, but I'm having a great time reading it, and it's everything I imagined and more. So we'll keep going when we get back maybe, but that'll probably be late, so probably more tomorrow we'll get back with it and hopefully finish it, fingers crossed. This mini microphone doesn't die, but I have completed Sunrise on the Reaping and Easy. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, once we got into Haymitch's Hunger Games and everything that was going on there was kind of like a little bit of a lull, not a lull, but like I had a lot of questions. So I was like, okay, this is going on a lot longer than I anticipated. Are we gonna get anything of the after and what's going on with his family, with Lenore? Get to the part where he is a mentor, where he goes on the Victor tour, where he's living in the village, that kind of thing, like how he comes to be how he is. But it, like, no need to fear. It wraps up so flawlessly, and you absolutely understand why he is the way he is. And I love getting the glimpses of like when he's in the games and he's sitting in the Katniss, and then obviously that plays into when he meets Katniss later down, and you kind of get the epilogue's like not even 2 pages, but you get a glimpse of Katniss and Peeta and Plutarch, Beatty, Mags, like just this was such a good prequel. Like there are very few prequels that I'm ever like head over heels for, and I would say both of the Hunger Games ones, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping, are phenomenally done. So good. You get every bit of information you need. I love the parallels with him and Snow's story, with like Snow and Lucy Gray, and then now Haymitch and Lenore Dove, and then how they both have their secrets. Like the Coveys are just this very interesting, intriguing thing to me, people to me, culture to me. Like I would love to know more about that, following even more of them in a prequel. I don't know if that would count as prequel, but like just more of them, or a prequel on Finnick. Like I just need more books like this, because this puts me, the nostalgia that the series brings to me, first of all, it's like one of the series that started my love for reading back in 6th grade when we read it for school. So bringing that back, but the books are just so well done. Like we just don't have
dystopian books like this anymore. I don't know if I'm missing them, where they went, but this era of reading is just unmatched. It was the Hunger Games, it was Divergent, it was the Maze Runner, it was Requiem, it was the Match series, like Shatter Me, just so good. And I just miss that era of reading so much, and I am so happy with this book. It tore my heart out in the best way possible, stomped on it, cried, smiled a little bit, not much because it's a pretty sad story, but just so well done. And it breaks my heart reading about Haymitch's story and Lenore and the ending of it, and just wow. And also, I think I mentioned earlier, like, I love their little saying. I love when a couple has a saying in the first place, like Shannon, you know, Shannon like the river, or hi Johnny, hi Shannon. Just little things like that, you know, or the boom boom, I'm gonna say freaking boom, and that, just things like that I love. And let's see if I can, it's I love you like all fire. I was gonna try and find a quote to read. I also hope you can hear me because my mini microphone died, so guess we're gonna find out if you can hear me or not. But this is like so worth every bit of the 5 stars. Absolutely. I have a book hangover. I'm depressed. I don't know what I'm gonna read after this because I just want to be back in this universe. I just want to be back in these reads. So good, so good. Resounding 5 stars. So this whole video had pretty darn good reads in it, if you can't tell. It's so much fun. I love doing the reading vlogs and going back and editing them and just seeing me reading them in the real time and just my thoughts and feelings on it. It's really hard to give too many thoughts and feelings because I don't want to give a bunch of spoilers in this. Obviously for Sunrise on the Reaping, it's a prequel. Everybody has probably seen at least the first Hunger Games movie or read the books at some point or another, or you know the plot of them. We know Haymitch, so it's not really spoilers necessarily that I'm giving for him, because we know obviously he had to win Hunger Games to be a mentor in those ones. So it was just so good. I'm so happy with it. So happy with this week of reads, and I'm hoping I can keep this momentum going and not get in any ruts again, but that's all kind of dependent on outside things like work and friends and just life in general. So hopefully we stay on this track. I already have a couple of books that I want to get started reading for this week that'll be shorter, so we'll probably be entering into some romance after this, because I did not very much romance in this one, which is, you know, usually I go like back and forth and do some palette cleansers and things like that, but there's a lot of new releases coming up, so stay tuned for more reading vlogs. I will be doing some new releases, some new books, debut novels from authors, things like that. So it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm having a blast making these. But in the meantime, if you have read any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts and feelings. If you have any suggestions, maybe you even disagree with some of the stuff and want to talk it out, let's do it. So like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you probably already know how to do, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye y'all.